In the city of Sakai, there are children working as traders named Kumong, Zaksuke, Sasuke, and Sube. They agreed to go to the spring festival together in Zumasachi, Suiyuchi. The three decided to go the day before so they could attend the sunrise ceremony the next morning, but the day was hot and they traveled slower than expected. Many times they had to stop at tea rooms for some refreshment. So the sun was already low and the three friends had not yet reached Sumasachi. They also had to pass through a dark forest. Zaksuke wanted his friends to leave quickly because if they wanted to reach the city on the same day, they would have to leave as soon as it was still light. Kumong did not want to get up, so he suggested that they should turn back and go to the nearest village to spend the night there and then tomorrow morning. Let and number 39, go. Shushike immediately objected. But we wanted to attend the opening ceremony. Indeed, the most beautiful time of communion night is at sunrise. Come on, let and number 39. Go. This is when the weather is cool and the road is easy. But Sube spoke up in support of Kumong. Either way, we won and number 39. Be able to arrive before dark. And walking through the forest at night is really not interesting at all. If we leave early tomorrow morning, we and number 39, probably arrive on time. Are you afraid of robbers or ghosts? I didn't and 39. Expect a small forest to make you so scared. Zaksuke replied, his voice sarcastic. And you, Aaron and 39, you afraid? Surely you know that this forest is full, and there are many strange things in these deserted places. Kumong replied, I and number 39, am definitely not afraid. I will prove it to you guys. If you Don and number 39, go, I and number 39, go alone. This forest is not very big, and if something happens, I will have a way to deal with it, Zaksuke said, and he gently patted the sword strapped to his waist. No matter how much the two friends advised him, it was no good. Zaksuke insisted on following the program. He mocked the other two, calling them cowards, and finally, he angrily broke up with them. Kumong and Sube returned to the village. Zaksuke tightened the belt with the sword on it, then walked into the forest without looking back to see if his friend had left. Indeed, just a moment later, the heat subsided, and the sunlight could no longer shine through the trees. Forest foliage. The sky became darker and darker. Suddenly a dark cloud appeared in the sky and a steady rain of dust began to fall. This is something I did not expect, Zaksuke told himself. He walked close to the tree to avoid the rain, and tried to find a place to hide. Meanwhile, the forest became less thick and the path passed through a clearing. Zaksuke wanted to stop to hide from the rain, but he suddenly saw a light on the other side of the empty space. Trying to look carefully, he realized there was a house. Don and number 39. Be weak and scared, Zasuke said to himself. In that house, we can take shelter from the rain and dry our clothes. The gap is not very wide. If we run fast, we won and number 39. Get soaked. He ran quickly in the rain, crossed the gap, and ran to the house. The house did not have a fence. The door in the hallway opened again, and Zaksuke boldly walked in. He took off his rain-soaked sandals, walked up the hallway and into a room lit by an oil lamp. The room was very comfortable. On the floor there was a clean mat, Next to the lamp there was a ceramic foot-warming incubator, on the cage, decorated with beautiful spiders, and next to it was a decorative tray. Put a jar of sake wine and a small cup. But the strange thing was that the room was empty and the whole house was completely silent. He only heard the steady sound of rain falling outside in the dark night. But Zatsuki was not surprised by this strangely quiet scene, but was only surprised to wonder why there was such a beautiful house in the middle of the forest. Wanting to stay dry, he squeezed water from his sleeve, then warmed his hand on the warm incubator. Then Zatsuki felt cold, his wet clothes stuck to his skin. If he didn't and #39 drink something to warm up, he would probably get sick. The flu is gone. He thought to himself, let a number 39 just drink a big cup of sake, it and number 39 yours. Thanks to sake, we can fight the flu. But just as he reached out to take the cup, he suddenly heard a squeaking sound coming from the cups. Wooden steps on the stairs, the ladder probably leads to the upper floor. Zatsuki heard the sound of light footsteps and the sound of silk rustling outside the door. The door opened, a girl walked in. She was so beautiful, it made Zatsuki ecstatic. He was happy to think that thanks to his courage he had not only been able to watch the opening ceremony at Somasachi, but also to have spent a comfortable evening with such a beauty. The girl was truly beautiful, with a pretty oval face, pink lips, and even eyebrows. Her silky black hair was pinned high on her head with a needle and an ivory comb. The kimono was made of red silk, the sleeves covering the ground were embroidered with yellow flowers, and the belt was made of shiny jade, colorful as a rainbow. With both white and soft hands, she held a lute with a long neck and a stretched black leather case. The girl entered, gently knelt down in the middle of the room, put the instrument to one side and respectfully bowed to Zatsuki. Zatsuki stood up and bowed down to apologize to her for barging into the house without asking permission first. But before he opened his mouth, she smiled charmingly at him, shook her head vigorously as if to stop him from speaking, and then give me a cup of sake wine. Suddenly Zatsuki noticed that the girl did not open her mouth to speak, not even to greet him. Maybe she is mute, he thought to himself, then did not speak anymore. He took the cup she gave him, smiled in response, and let her pour wine into the cup. He was surprised to find the wine still hot and fragrant. The girl seemed happy to see him realize that the wine was good, so she continued to pour it for him. But every time he wanted to pour the wine himself, she shook her head and refused. In the end, he drank all the wine in the beautiful ceramic vase, and he didn't and #39 know whether it was the wine or her beauty that made him drunk. The girl immediately signaled for him to sit and rest comfortably, then she held the guitar and took out the guitar pick from her belt. It continued to rain outside, and Zatsuki and #39's clothes were dry. I have to go, but I feel dazed, like I and number 39. They've forgotten everything. He leaned against the lacquered pillar of the house, looked at the beautiful landlady, and imagined the surprised attitudes of his two friends tomorrow morning when they heard him recount this strange story of luck. A lucky story that, due to their cowardice, they did not enjoy it. The girl strummed the guitar, and a strange, enchanting music played. Zatsuki felt he had never heard a melody like this. The melody of the music was sometimes melodious and gentle, sometimes intense and majestic, sometimes wailing and wailing. He felt his limbs stiffen, his body in ecstasy. The girl played, her eyes staring at his face, her eyes shining like two red coals. Zatsuki felt like he was being melted away by that enchanting music. And only that ghostly music and those eyes remain in this world. Occasionally, the girl plucked the string in the middle, and every time she did that, Zatsuki had a strange, creepy feeling, as if there was something wrong. Something invisible, something cold and slippery was wrapping around my neck. But when he touched his neck, that feeling disappeared, as if he had just thrown away that invisible object. Seeing him do that, the girl frowned, but she immediately smiled at him and continued playing. The string in the middle trembled more and more, and Zatsuki felt that invisible object tightening its grip on his neck. He was afraid to realize that he had fallen into a trap. He gathered all the strength in his body to pull out his sword to defend himself. The sword was short but very sharp. The girl immediately looked at him angrily, plucked the string so hard that it broke. Then she hugged Zatsuki and #39's body. He pulled out the sword forcefully, but it was too late. He was tied tightly to the pillar and the blade slipped from his hand, flying and burying itself deep into the black leather guitar case. Suddenly the girl lost her anger, her face looked sad and painful. She stood up, picked up the guitar and walked out of the room, as quietly as she came in. The house was completely silent again, the cold night air flowed through the window into the house, the oil lamp turned on for the last time. Turn it off completely. The prisoner was locked alone in a dark room, unable to see his way around. He panicked and thought to himself, "And quat. 100 things are also my fault. And quat. Now I can and number 39. T move out of here and I don and number 39. T have a sword to defend myself." Fortunately, the weather is about to get hot, and light gradually floods into the room. He saw that the floor mats were torn, half rotten and half covered in dust. The door in the hallway was not opened but was thrown out of its frame and fell to the ground. The place for the incubator is now a pile of ash, and the wine bottle and cup are now 2 stones, one large and one small. Zatsuki thought he must be dreaming, but the rope tying him to the post was indeed a real rope. And the drops of blood scattered in the room up to the door were still fresh, not blood from yesterday. Zatsuki tried to find out what was going on, but then he fell asleep. A moment later, the sun shone through the gaps in the ruined walls, and at the same time he heard Kumang and #39's voice ringing outside. "Hey Sub, look, that sign has a strange name. Pai Ba Quan. Autumn Festival in the middle of the forest. Who would be so stupid as to open a restaurant in the middle of the forest like this? No wonder the owner could N and #39 make a living, so the house was half ruined." Zatsuki woke up when he heard the voices of his 2 friends. He called out, "Kumang, Sub, come and save me." "Oh my God, it and number 39's Zatsuki?" Sub shouted. "What is he doing here? Something must have happened to him?" The 2 friends went in and untied Zatsuki. "He told the 2 of you what happened that night." Then he told the 2 of them to go see what the house was like because he was afraid that during the fight that night he had accidentally caused the girl serious injuries. The 3 friends followed the trail of blood. They climbed the damaged staircase, reached the attic, and under a large torn spiderweb, they saw a giant spider lying dead, pierced by Suzaki and #39's sword. Suk smiled mockingly and said, "You think we make sense, right? Often strange things happen in the forest, so anyone who goes in the forest alone at night is not wise at all. At least this case will give you more experience." "But I and number 39 am not afraid," Zaksuk replied proudly, then put his sword back in its scabbard. The three of them agreed again. They set off to Sumisachi. At least then noon came and we could still attend the ceremony. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.